Hi, I'm Jacob Goldsmith.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Fields.
It's very nice to meet you, Mrs. Fields. So why did you want to meet with me today?
Well, I just turned 62 and I feel like I've been losing muscle and strength. Getting out of my chair is harder than it used to be. I used to train when I was younger and I started going to the fitness center in my apartment complex, but I keep getting weaker. I just want to be able to do normal things around the house and feel like I can support myself. What else can I do?
Well, first of all, it's great that you're getting in the gym again. Exercise, and resistance training in particular, can go a long way toward building and maintaining muscle size and strength. But before we talk about exercise, would you mind if I ask how much protein you're getting in your diet?
I'm on a diet my nephew showed me. I bought a copy of it with me. Here you go.
It looks like you're getting limited protein and really only consuming one large portion of protein at night with your dinner.
Yes? Is that an issue? I saw it on Dr. Oz.
Low dietary energy intake is common among healthy elderly adults. There has been speculation that the protein recommendations for these older individuals may actually be higher than the currently recommended 1 gram of protein per kilogram body weight. A review by Dickinson, Volpe, Rasmussen in 2013 explains that normal aging is characterized by the gradual loss of skeletal muscle mass, strength, and function. Together, this is commonly referred to as sarcopenia. The onset of muscle atrophy may begin as early as 25 to 30, and the rate of muscle atrophy only accelerates with aging. It has been shown that a loss of 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade occurs after the age of 30. This decline becomes steeper after the age of 60. The origin of sarcopenia isn't yet clearly understood, but several mechanisms have been proposed. For instance, irreversible fiber damage, deinnervation or loss of contact between nerve and muscle, and an accumulation of mitochondrial DNA deletion mutations due to oxidative
Sarcopenia is
stress.
associated with impaired physical function and the reduced ability to perform activities of daily living, which significantly increases the risk for falls, frailty, and dependence in older adults.
I see.
One of the primary factors thought to contribute to muscle loss with aging is the impaired ability of skeletal muscle of older adults to respond to anabolic stimuli. This is known as the anabolic resistance of aging. Relatively small quantities of essential amino acids are capable of stimulating muscle protein synthesis in young individuals, but not in older individuals. Muscle protein is constantly remodeled through continuous synthesis of new proteins and degradation of existing proteins. This is referred to as protein turnover. When synthesis is greater than degradation, there is a positive net protein balance, and hypertrophy or muscle growth and repair can occur. However, if a breakdown is greater than synthesis, muscle wasting occurs. The rate of synthesis increases in response to a meal. Breakdown also increases, but to a lesser extent, resulting in a positive protein balance, or an anabolic period. After an overnight fast, synthesis is decreased by 15 to 30%, depending on the length of the fast.
Yeah.
Degradation changes minimally, resulting in a negative protein balance, or catabolic period. Nutrition and exercise have been identified as potent stimulators of skeletal muscle protein synthesis, and can acutely increase protein anabolism within skeletal muscle. Over time, these acute increases provide a necessary stimulus to preserve and increase skeletal muscle size and strength. Thus, exercise and nutritional strategies represent some promising treatments to slow or reverse the progression of sarcopenia. Ingesting larger quantities of essential amino acids stimulates muscle protein synthesis to a similar degree in younger and older adults. However, sensitivity to amino acid availability seems to be reduced with age. The ability of adequate amino acid intake to stimulate muscle protein synthesis remains intact. Collectively, these data suggest that there's a threshold of leucine, in which it's necessary for amino acids to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and that this threshold is increased with aging. However, this impaired response can be overcome by ingesting proper quantities of protein.
Yes, do go on. Do go on.
Leucine is an essential amino acid, and it's one of 3 branched-chain amino acids, including valine and isoleucine. Leucine has actually been identified as the most potent stimulator of muscle protein synthesis. In one study, done by Glenn et al. In 2010, muscle protein synthesis was stimulated by both 1.8 grams of leucine and 3.5 grams of leucine in young adults. However, older adults were unresponsive to the 1.7 gram dosage, whereas increasing the amount to 2.8 grams restored muscle protein synthesis. So increasing the quantity of leucine in any given meal may be an adequate strategy to promote muscle protein synthesis in older adults. The ingestion of small or inadequate doses of protein or amino acids may accelerate the rate of sarcopenia. However, studies indicate that ingesting 20 to 30 grams of protein, or greater than 3 to 3.5 grams of leucine per meal, can overcome this impairment and maximize the muscle protein synthesis response. Norton et al. In 2008 demonstrated that there is a 3-hour refractory period after stimulation of muscle protein synthesis, in which MPS cannot further be stimulated. Habitual moderate to high dietary protein intake can provide sufficient leucine to maximize meal-induced protein synthesis. This is key because this can chronically improve muscle protein synthesis response in older adults. Kapurson et al. In 2012 showed that increasing the leucine content of a mixed meal consisting of fat, protein, and carbohydrates is capable of normalizing or even increasing protein synthesis in older populations. Habitual protein intake is a key determinant of the efficacy of leucine and protein's effects on muscle protein synthesis. In a study on 8 healthy older individuals, post-meal protein synthesis was improved over the course of 2 weeks of leucine supplementation. It appears that adequate protein intake can chronically upregulate the potential for muscle protein synthesis, therefore making insufficient protein more bioavailable. 7 days of bed rest in older adults significantly reduces the ability of amino acids to stimulate protein synthesis. This highlights the fact that movement and blood flow are key for nutrient delivery. It has been suggested that the ability of insulin to stimulate vasodilation is impaired in older adults, and that exercise training and proper leucine intake can improve this insulin sensitivity. In a study conducted by Timmerman et al. In 2012, it was found that a single bout of aerobic exercise at moderate intensity was effective at increasing anabolic effects of nutrient intake in older sedentary adults. This effect seems to be mediated by exercise-induced improvements in nutrient-stimulated vasodilation and nutrient delivery, rather than insulin signaling. Resistance exercise stimulates protein synthesis in young individuals. This response is lessened in older adults. However, resistance training is still capable of increasing muscle size and strength, just to a lesser degree. Endurance exercise results in a negative protein balance to a greater degree than resistance training. Recovery seems to be dependent on dietary protein and leucine to increase the intracellular leucine concentration. The acute effects of any exercise are catabolic. However, regular exercise training is essential to optimize muscle growth and hypertrophy. So once protein synthesis is stimulated by a meal, there is a 3-hour refractory period, in which protein synthesis cannot be further stimulated. So this means that spreading our meals out throughout the day and ensuring at least 3 to 3.5 grams of leucine with each meal will ensure that we are spiking muscle protein synthesis, therefore optimizing building muscle and maintaining strength. As with any line of research, certain limitations exist. Some of these studies have used small sample sizes, been non-randomized, have used animal models, had a limited special cohort, or no direct measure of protein breakdown. No, I understand. It's a lot to take in all at once. However, the timing and quantity of protein seem to become more crucial as we age and combat sarcopenia. Thanks for coming in today, Mrs. Fields. It was lovely to meet you, and I hope you've learned a lot.
Thanks for your time.
But it's just gonna help my gains.
Still recording?
It is now.
How's this thing? How's this thing work?
For the awkward faces.